Hello. Yeah, I mean, how do I follow that? That was, I thought that was incredibly interesting. There was a ton of stuff that was mentioned in there that I sort of wasn't really expecting to be mentioned, but actually covers, not doesn't cover, but kind of overlaps with a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about. Connectivity, collaboration, agility, flexibility, resilience, efficiency. There was like 1,000 other things in there, right? So you mentioned a ton of really good stuff. So I'm going to try really hard to just stick to my 10 minutes, but it's going to be hard. So it's all about connectivity, right? I mean, it's exactly what you guys have just been saying. It enables all the stuff that we need to do to move this industry forwards to kind of deal with the changes in our industry, the way people are viewing stuff. The kind of remote production, centralized production, anybody can access anything from anywhere to do anything they want to do. That model is, it's been proven with Formula One, with Discovery, Eurosport. It's been proven all over the place, and it's all based off the back of connectivity. I'm going to draw a few little examples from some of these case studies. So the first one is a kind of an OB truck type thing. It's really just talking about connectivity, delivering capabilities within a production environment to deliver exactly what you need in a simple way. They wanted a simple, high-capacity 2110 infrastructure. They planned for UHD. They needed 24 local cameras, 30 remote cameras. We built them a truck. We helped build a truck with a chassis switch. It had 3 times 36 times 100 gig line cards in it, so not a big switch. That big, maybe. Took up way less than you imagine an SDI router to take up. That delivered 21 terabits per second throughput, non-blocking, sustainable forever. Just 21 terabits per second, right? This is back to that last point about uncompressed, the ability to kind of deliver incredible quality, low latency, simplistically. That gave them a 650 square UHD router, which that doesn't exist, right? Unless you build it in IP. If I didn't want IP, if I wanted the flexibility, if I wanted to build something tomorrow that's different, it's a 7K squared 1080i router. It's absolutely huge. So the modern technologies are allowing us to build these incredibly simple systems that deliver unfettered technical access to pretty much everything you could possibly want. What about bandwidth? Got some numbers up here. 400 gig is there right now, delivering it every day, built into Discovery Eurosport, for example. 800 gig is shipping right now. Imagine what you can do with these numbers. The optics are kind of coming with that. 1.6 terabits is just over there somewhere, right? The optics are coming with this. 800 gig ZR Plus is giving us the ability to span hundreds, if not thousands of kilometers easily. And you kind of dole on the top of that DWDM, whatever else you feel like. It's all coming. Then you've got the ability to deliver 26.6 terabits per second down a single piece of fiber. Now, talking about, somebody talked about 800, a bundle of 800. I assume that was fibers, I'm not quite sure, but imagine 800 lots of 26 point something terabits. It's absolutely astronomical. So you've got the ability now to build pan-European networks in hops that exist point to point. I wanted to, my next point was going to be about simplifying operations. We talked a little bit about that. I wanted to talk about automation. That was mentioned already, right? So one of the things that you want to really deliver here is agility. One of the things that EMG did was to deliver agility through automation. They built their own automation tool. They called it Deploy. The sole purpose of that was to use easy-to-use APIs and telemetry to build essentially data centers on wheels. They could move them around, they could connect them together, they could deliver whatever they wanted to do whenever they wanted. We talked about software workflows earlier on, bringing them up, pulling them down. That's exactly what they do, but with hardware switches, so they can build, for example, the opening ceremonies of big Parisian events that I'm not allowed to mention the names of. So they built that off the back of wanting to simplify the way their operations worked and wanting to be able to have their key people not worrying about configuring switches and worrying about configuring endpoints. They wanted them to think about workflows and deliverables and delivering content easily and cheaply to their end customers, right? If you're going to talk about simple operations, you also kind of have to talk about visibility. You can't really, you've got to close the circle. If you're going to automate stuff, you've got to measure stuff. You've got to work out what the problem is, how you're going to automate it to fix it, how you're going to measure it's still good. That comes from telemetry. And everything we talked about so far, being agile, flexible, resilient, efficient, it all comes back to being able to measure something. And if you can't measure your underlying network, you're kind of in a place which is a bit difficult to understand. You may have a may have a -6 network running -7, or a 2110 running -7, or AS67 running -7. You may have some other method of transporting your stuff around, but the bottom line is you need to know it's working. You need to know when it's not working. You need to know when your resilience has kicked in and fixed it, because if you lose all your resilience, you've lost all your network, right? So real-time, rich streaming telemetry is kind of one of the things that is forgotten in the move to IP, in my opinion. We didn't used to do it in SDI. We really do need to do it in IP, because you can't see this stuff. There's lots of it in the single cable. You really need to be able to monitor this stuff. Now, whether you want to monitor that through, vendor-specific tools that are turnkey and super easy and deliverable, as a service in the cloud or whatever, or whether you want to build that off the telemetry that comes from your vendor, and you are going to build your own tool set, or you're going to buy a tool set from somebody else, it doesn't really matter. I think my message here is just make sure you build your telemetry systems in. Maybe you need to build them into, I don't know, to charge people, who knows? I'm not at that end of the grubby business. I just make technology. So, I guess as service providers, there's probably plenty of you in here who are making your money by charging people for delivering stuff. So you've already got the telemetry message. So I'm going to just wrap it up with my last quick slide. And what I'm trying to say here is that technology is continuing to move forward incredibly quickly. Moore's Law, which was going to run out 10 years ago, just has not run out yet. x86 Moore's Law is still running. Merchant silicon for switches and optics absolutely has not run out yet. I mean, if you think about what Intel is building, whatever it is, 2 or 3 nanometers, the merchant silicon guys are still not actually at that point. We've still got another doubling we get for free just by using Intel's old fabs, right? So 400 gig, 800 gig, 1.6 terabits per second, boxes that can deliver you 960 terabits per second non-blocking through a single switch. This is all being pushed forward by AI. I haven't talked about that yet, but essentially you guys are riding the wave of what AI is going to do for us all. It's all about huge cluster scale, incredible connectivity, and incredible reliability. Off the back of that, we'll get the Ultra Ethernet standard fairly soon. That is going to bring absolutely game-changing changes in network reliability and network efficiencies. Some of the techniques in Ultra Ethernet are going to allow us to spray stuff everywhere, not worry about reordering, be able to deliver across broken networks. It's going to be quite mind-blowing, to be honest. If you kind of align that with some of the other changes that are on the way, like linear drive optics, which is probably halves the power of an optic, thirds the price of an optic. You take the DSP out of the optic, right, and what you've got is better connectivity to the switch, and you've got much cheaper, lower latency, lower power connectivity. So we started on connectivity. That was my message, really, is that networking technology is moving incredibly fast now. It's moving faster than the broadcast guys are ever going to be able to use it. And so dive into it, swim in it, try not to drown in it, but bear in mind that it's kind of, we're taking the path that the big guys are, the Metas and the NVIDIAs. We're taking that path, and that feels like a safe path to me. So thank you to my friends at EMG and TMV for allowing me to show some lovely pictures. There was some sort of a connection with the case studies, but really, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's all about connectivity.